Good morning, everyone. 9:01. Go ahead and get this meeting started. Ask if you can lead us up.
Yes, if you want to, please join me for a short prayer. Dear Lord, in this moment of stillness, we gather our hearts in gratitude for the gift of life and the strength to face each day. May your love inspire us to embrace compassion, understanding, and unity. Guide us to be a source of hope and light, reflecting you in our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Amen. And we'll pledge to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to be the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Drew.
My pleasure. So, you guys know, my husband tells me all the time, oh, that's the chemo brain talking. So, if the chemo brain starts talking, let me know.
We're going to kick off morning with Superior Court with Judge Fee. Except
Maybe not.
you do it.
Yes.
So, Pam, how about?
Morning. Good morning.
Can we talk about?
So we're going to have our courts and probation department give us a brief synopsis on what to anticipate in the budget request.
You ready?
Yeah.
As far as county general, the only increase I asked for is I did ask for a 3% raise for staff. I feel like I owed it to them, to the staff, so I keep asking them to do more and more and take on more responsibility. But that is the only increase out of that.
You anticipate the Spanish-speaking officer to be there for the 26th year?
I'm hoping, and that comes in my next budget.
Okay, how about 2517?
Okay, so I had originally intended on asking for another officer this year, and then I got the memo. So I have not. Shortly after receiving the memo from council, I received notice from the Department of Corrections that the DOC grant funding had been cut by $7 million. I think they cut it $2 million last year. So when I submitted my county budget, I wasn't sure how that was going to impact me because I hadn't received that yet. But I now have those numbers. So I had put 2 officers who are already officers, so it doesn't add anybody to county insurance or benefits or anything. I put all of their salaries into the user fee budget. But now I will not need that amount of money. I will still need to take 1 whole officer salary out of user fees plus benefits, and then $15,766 for the other officer's salary out of user fees. The grant will cover the rest of her salary plus benefits, but the officer that I want to move totally into user fees, she is the officer that's fluent in Spanish, and that would put her in my office full-time and not a shared position. We currently have $714,000 in adult user fees. So we do have the money to cover that and sustain it for at least a few years.
How much does the fund, I'm sorry,
Oh, absolutely.
how much does that fund normally bring in? I understand the 714 you're talking about, that's a cash balance. How much does it normally bring in?
As of August 1st, we collected $55,147. We're averaging about $8,000 a month. So the total amount I would need out of user fees is different than what is in front of you. For salaries, I would need $148,382, and then for other expenses, $41,100. for a total of $189,450 if I got it correctly.
So instead of the 241, 142,
Yes,
you can, I'm so sorry, you said 189?
189,482.
So you're,
It's good burn,
let's say it's about 100,000 a year cash burn.
right, is the thought process.
Yes.
Anything else you need to know before we head into the next month? Anything else from you, Dan?
Nothing else. I need more help, not less help, so I really need to have them at least put it in the budget.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Judge Steve, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for not dropping me to the end of the line. Thank you so much. Hey, you've got the numbers in front of you. Every year I stop and I think about how budgets have changed. And I'm sure you see the greater impact of that, but for example, probation budget has gone from being one chief and 1.5 officers when I first started some 41 years ago to the robust active budget it is today with many officers, very dedicated people, pretty painful.
Is that already?
I said nice things. It's kind of inspiring. I want you to know your money is really well spent. It's going to the delivery of services in capacity and creative ways that we didn't know back in 1985. I hope you feel good about that. You can reflect on the work that you've done. If you've been here for a while now.
Since 85.
I know that. But I think you had a dad that was, or was it your uncle?
No,
And an uncle.
And an uncle, yeah.
Right. So I just want you to kind of think about that. And when you look at our budget, numbers are up there. Quantitatively, we deliver services in a way that we never did before. Creatively, but also just the vast numbers. And as we all know, things are changing and it will ever be so. The delivery of accessibility services.
I am so sorry.
That's okay. Your pardon.
I apologize. Usually, Silent, I didn't even check this morning.
You're
Yeah,
right.
so thank you for partying.
People out go crazy.
Are you sure?
Well, unless you're on the sandbars. So, where was I? I just want to say that you're doing a heck of a job. You're doing a really good job. And I know that margins are tight. Have difficult decisions made. The one thing I want to know, so you're aware of this language line situation, you use it across county government, all of the courts. And it's something where we've lost the state funding. Now, I have it from pretty good sources that there's going to be some efforts to change that, but we won't know that this budget cycle. Because it's a big ask for counties to do the language line and pay for it. It's not super expensive, but it's not inexpensive either. And with the numbers going in the direction to go, I think you could safely say it's going to cost you some money. That's the one change that you'll see penciled in. We're kind of caught a little bit short on the notion that communities had to pick up the cost of language line previously funded by, at least on my end, by the Supreme Court budget. So took too much time already. Sorry about that. What do you got for me?
Judge, may I ask on that? I think we asked this question last year. Would a position be shareable there? How would that work timing wise for all of you?
Yeah, well, I can speak only for my docket. And actually, the magistrate will have the bulk of the translation services. I will have them as well. And of course, circuit court will have some as well. But, we could work out our schedules and try to do it in a way that someone could float. It'd almost be if you're looking at a full-time employee.
That was my next question is, are we there yet?
Yeah,
Could you really utilize someone for that?
I would suggest that is the question. You could make that decision just by looking at the amount of money that you're spending on translation services and trying to decide whether it's cost effective or not. Every judge only sees a piece of the puzzle section of the board. So, however it happens, all I know is it needs to happen for us to be able to do our work. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you. See you.
Mr. Burns. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
It's good to be meeting you.
Yeah, I guess we both tell it.
Well, if you have, of course, issue. The theme that Bill set, translation, obviously we use a lot of services. We've upped the in-person translation fee. I think we went from 15 something to 18. And then, of course, we had to put in 5,000 for the language line services, probably a little high, but it's our best guess as to what we might use now that we have to pay for it. And then, of course, CASA went up in our budget a little bit. We don't use their services as much as circuit court, but it's gotta happen.
Do you have any questions from that street? Thanks for being here, Jim.
Okay, well, thank you.
Have your phone by you when we get into sessions. Jeremy.
Gang.
Good. How are you?
So I just want to point out specific changes from the previous year. First, I would just note that we've combined a couple different line items. You'll notice that copy supplies and printing, we're not asking for any additional, but those two have been combined. And also travel and continuing education, those two, again, it's the same amount as years past, but those two have been combined. We have cut the request for medical services in half because I basically don't have any criminal cases. I don't have any personally, except for some special judge cases from other counties, but there still are some special judge cases that flowed out of circuit court, and one in particular, I know there's an evaluation, because that's what this is typically. It's for competency and insanity in criminal cases mostly. So that's why I use that. You're going to see, obviously, we just talked about the language line. So translator increase due to the striking the funding, unfortunately. Pauper counsel, so appointed attorneys. In our Chen's cases, child in need of services, this just changed. Traditionally, I think we've been paying them like $100 a case, which is not what it was necessarily supposed to be. So the Indiana Commission on Court Appointed Attorneys effective as of July 1. And this doesn't, other public defenders, you know, in the criminal world here are salary, basically, right, or contract. Not so with our Chen's appointments. So it's supposed to be 110 an hour. So that's going to, I don't know what the exact number is going to be, but I feel like what I've proposed there is probably going to be pretty accurate. So just have to follow the law. You see in the guardian ad litem, the GAL, as we call it, there's an increase. Just because now I have all the civil cases, they're not distributed between 3 courts. There's a few of them that relate to child support. As Magistrate Burns indicated that he would have, but as far as when I talk about what cases the guardian ad litems need to be appointed on, and those are the voice for either an adult who's incapacitated or a child, we have to appoint them. Sometimes we have to appoint them, other times it just depends on the circumstances of the case. But those are going to be the guardianship hearings. Sometimes I have to appoint them, and I do appoint them. I just did last week in a Chen's case. And also you'll have some custody cases sometimes when the court will appoint those. And then equipment repair. So IT is replacing all of the monitors on the bench, and that's what that increase reflects. And then finally, have asked for a very small bump for the court reporter in admin bailiff 1, admin bailiff 2, essentially just inflation cost of living. Everything else is the same.
Those were new monitors on the bench. That was,
I don't think so. Now you're asking a guy that's been there for just over 8 months. I don't think so. No.
They're the original ones for when we first went on to Odyssey and JTech
okay.
provided.
Yes.
So we used to collect back our pauper fees in some of our, or is that still something that we're going to be doing moving forward?
Yes, is it 50% reimbursement? 40% of those 50. Yeah, there is reimbursement. Yes, thank you. Good question.
I know that we had discussed with the public defender office, the possibility of mini contracts. Is that not going to be able to be something that can be done?
That depends on the conversation today. Later.
Okay, but right, I'm not shooting in the dark there. That's something we talked about, we discussed.
You are correct. So there is a potential where the pauper council funding would shift from the courts to the public defender budget, depending on how all of this all plays out. And then, yes, the pauper council stuff, it does get reimbursed at the 40% as well, because that's included on my reports.
I would suggest that's probably the better route to go. I would advocate for that. Just
Then by the hourly rate,
Yeah,
yeah.
by hourly. And in the Chen's case, we've been really up against it. We've lost a couple public defenders in that arena, court-appointed attorneys, and we still have not lost her, but we're on the cusp. We hear rumors that, okay, at what point is this not really worth my time? And those are important cases. To me, arguably some of the most important cases we have because they involve kids. So they're not easy cases, but someday if there's ever a reshuffling of caseload again, I intend to keep those cases with everything in me just because I feel like those cases are so important. They're not easy, they're not fun, but they're important.
They are.
Good questions.
Any questions for Judge? Thank you, sir.
Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Trinity. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you? I am just here to request appropriation for our fiscal year 26 JDAI annual grant funds. We put in for implementation funds and for programming funds.
It's Kelly, this is just their grant money that we're putting correct. Yeah, we're just appropriating.
I don't see why we can't take the motion.
Approve all of them together.
Okay, thank you, Ruth.
And I will second.
Any further questions or comments? David, raise your right hand.
Thank you guys for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alicia. Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Sorry, I had a mint in my mouth and I didn't realize which one. I have two items on the agenda today. They are related to different funds. This first one.
I love your humor.
Sorry, I was like, I need sugar this morning. I have two items on the agenda. One is for Fund 8112. This is related to the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant. It's pretty much a grant we've had for over 10 years now. It comes through the Department of Health, through the federal government, and through the Department of Health and the state level. In the past, it's been $25,000. This year it was just reduced to $20,000. On the agenda is actually to appropriate that budget. It is reimbursement based. So typically I should say, we pull down all of the preparedness coordinators funding for the salaries that goes related to that. And then after that, we do invoice for the different expenses we have going in. And they are okay with that in the past, and they said they would be fine with that today. So we do have 7 different items in different account numbers for appropriation, and the total comes to $20,000.
Let's see. 4 here, but we have 7 here. It's this match. Yeah, it is.
We can,
The categories are just.
yeah, we combine.
I was like, am I crazy? Am I losing it from there to here?
No, we tried to, because it was trying to get the whole budget on, or the whole thing on 2 pieces of paper. Yeah, so your totals should be the same.
Okay.
Overall.
Oh, you did it by categories instead of
Yeah.
numbers, okay.
So we have it the way that you did it here with the 7, and then on our agenda, there's like 4.
Yeah.
So that's why I was
So
confused.
4 different category types, a total of $20,000.
Yes.
There you go.
Motion.
You approve? I'll second.
Further comments, questions? David, raise your right hand.
The next one I have on the agenda is for Fund 8100. This is also grant-related money. This is what I've been working with the auditor and carry forward balance. So pretty much we were told that this grant would not be renewed. In the past, it has been for other health departments. This was our first year of doing it. And they told us to pull down for any expenses that were incurred during this grant period that we have going forward. Most notably would be the vehicle lease. So we do have a vehicle lease that we actually signed a 3-year agreement for, and then when all of that rollback on the federal COVID dollars happened, this was impacted, but they did realize that we did incur a cost by doing these recurring expenses. And so they're allowing us to pull that additional money going down. I have it in writing in an email that we can forward charge the state for that. And we were able to look at our expenses, do an analysis, and in total, $28,655.95 will be used for the 3 different types of payments that we have that are reoccurring that kind of fit within that window. So I think when I did it, it would be like 18 months of the vehicle lease. So that would get us year 2 and year 3 completely taken care of. Yeah. So, and then also our 2 computer programming, we were able to really get, I think, 13 or 14 months of a average balance of how much that charge would be. So really doing as much as possible to kind of take care of those recurring expenses into the future, because we knew it was going to be a tight financial year. So trying to get that stuff knocked off very easily, including the telephone, because we do have our nurse and our vaccination nurse. They both have cell phones to answer questions and have the ability to contact patients. And we were able to get 18 months of those payments taken care of with these. So we had a ton of different account line items in that fund. The only ones that will remain active are the vehicle lease, computer software, and the telephone line going forward. And that's the only thing that will be paid out are those expenses that were delineated. We do have to kind of report that to the state, but they said that was absolutely fine. So we're making the best we can out of the lemons we were handed, and we're going to make lemonade. So in total, the request for additional appropriation would be $28,655.95.
Thank you for your hard work.
They told us to do this. This was not my idea. I'm not going to say credit. But yes,
But to put together the numbers and to,
yes, we scrubbed together every penny we could get out of them, and they said, you have 7 days to get this done. And I was like, I'm going to take it all the way to the wire and get this done. But we were able to figure out exactly what we need. And, yeah, I'm glad that we're going to at least have a couple of those recurring things knocked off our normal expenses.
Good. Thank you for that excellent explanation. Here's my motion.
I'll second.
Questions? Okay, ready to write it? Thank you, Alicia.
It's not gonna last long, it's still clean them out. But I will see all of you guys later today, and I'll try to be quick.
Early, but I've seen that.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh, looking right at you. Wait. Hello.
Hey, sorry.
If it's okay, I'm gonna chat with, I knew Nikki's the one on the schedule. So when I get to come back later today to go over the budget stuff, hopefully this one's a little bit easier, but I want to answer some questions for you. We're asking for $5,000 to be transferred, 2,500 from part-time 09 to the full-time, and then 2,500 from our pretrial diversion fund, part-time to the full-time there. So, and the reason for this request is we have had, you guys been hearing, they're messing with grants left and right. Cedric, our deputy prosecutor, his position has been funded partially for years by a side grant, about $25,000. We were told the plan, and some of you are aware of this, told the plan that was not going to be available at all. So that was not even put into the budget request. After the budget was submitted, we were informed that it's going to be made available. Didn't know what amount, anything like that. And as you guys have heard, they're cutting that stuff. So we weren't even expecting it to be the full 25 if we were going to pursue it. Kind of the big issue that when it did become available, Nikki's informed that there's a whole lot of new restrictions and conditions on getting that money. The biggest part of which is Cedric is now required to personally do a lot of things with these victims, meet with them in person in the office within 7 days, have personal contact with these people. And these are all things that are good things and things that our office is doing. The difference is we have a victims assistance director that is also funded by a grant, but that's what she does. So she's already doing all these things. And now in order to get this, presumably $25,000 or a little bit less, we're gonna have Cedric duplicate a lot of the services that she's already providing to these people, which is gonna put a huge strain on him, and he's already stretched extremely thin. He's our only deputy prosecutor. We currently have, with the way things are reallocated, there are 5 criminal court sessions a week. Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and then Friday mornings. Because that grant required him to handle all of the domestic violence cases, he is our only prosecutor that is in court 5 sessions every week. Obviously, being in court means that greatly limits your ability to do things outside court, which, to be honest with you, the vast majority of our work is not done in the court, which this isn't. So these new requirements and stuff that we're putting on him, we're duplicating these services, even if we're gonna go after this grant, I would have been here later this afternoon saying we need another deputy prosecutor, just because the amount of time that it takes him to do everything that he's currently doing, plus all those new restrictions, he would have nothing but domestic violence on his plate all the time. And obviously he's got a significant other caseload. So the biggest part of what getting out from underneath this grant, I guess, so to speak, does for us is, and I'll talk about this afternoon. As a lot of you are aware, our case filings are the highest they've been in the history of the county. And that is creating a large strain on my office, probably. The courts have the ability to disperse that amongst the courts a little bit, but it all starts with us. So it's putting a lot of strain on us right now. So the goal is to try to use the resources that we do have and be as efficient as possible. And allowing Cedric the freedom, because what I can do with those DV cases is I can basically spread those out among everybody now. I've got my misdemeanor prosecutors that can now handle those cases, take those on, and they can handle those in the court sessions where they already are. So that makes a heck of a lot more sense, allows us to be a lot more efficient going forward. So realistically, I know I got into a lot of stuff probably beyond the fund transfer, but this is kind of what the background is between why this is being requested and why it's really necessary, just to allow us to do our jobs in the most efficient way. I want to be as fiscally conservative as the next guy. We need to take the approach of being able to utilize our resources. And at some point, when you're restricting Cedric so much with what he can do, your return on your investment for this probably less than $25,000 just isn't there because it restricts him so much. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Obviously, the money's already there. My understanding that because we had, as you guys are aware, we had a deputy prosecutor position that sat vacant for a few months. We do have that filled now, but because that didn't sit vacant, we do have the money that's already there. We're just simply asking that it be transferred from one location to another. So I'm not happy to answer questions about any of that stuff. Obviously, I'll be back here this afternoon to chat with you guys a little bit more, but anybody have any questions about any of that?
I just want to back you up that being in court that much doesn't allow an attorney any time to get any work done.
It is. It's hard. And the unfortunate part is, I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. The unfortunate part is, and hopefully, if we go the route of having a public defender's office, it'll allow that to be more efficient too. If we have a central location, because Christine, you are well aware that it's very hard for an attorney to do their job unless their clients are touching base with them ahead of time. And so what we find ourselves doing a lot of times is, especially with the PDs, their clients are coming in, they haven't spoken to their attorneys, and we're sitting and we're waiting. And we're wasting time just sitting there waiting for to talk to the attorney because their client hasn't reached out to them ahead of time. So ideally, if we do have that central office and we've got a location where these people can come and meet with their public defenders ahead of time, maybe that makes that system more efficient too. So there's a lot of downtime, unfortunately, because of those types of things. So we could increase efficiency there, hopefully as well. It does help, don't get me wrong, to be able to just go back downstairs to my office and say, hey, if you're going to be talking to people, call me when you're ready. We do have that ability now, which is great, but there's ways to be more efficient than what we currently are. And I think part of it is what I'm requesting here. Part of it is hopefully getting the public defender's agency set up to have a central agency to do that. I think that'll help the judicial system overall as a whole a lot. Anyway, taking up too much of you guys' time, thank you so much. Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Everybody raise your hand. Thank you.
See you this afternoon. Thanks.
Morning.
Morning. I tried to make this brief. Coming to you this morning, asking for your permission to apply for the salary reimbursement for the Indiana Department of Homeland Security when it becomes available in October. So being a little proactive here, getting the request in now. It'll be for the $30,000 of what our tier level 4 government is. This is the one that we do every year.
Same amount as last year.
Is the same amount as last year. There is a little glimmer of hope on the horizon. I received an email yesterday that potentially right now for the 2026 reimbursement, so this again, everything is a year in the rear. So we'll be applying for $30,000 for this year. 2026, they're saying that it's going to be, I have the numbers. For 2026, it is potentially looking like it's going to be $35,000. So it'll be a little bit more next year when we go through this process, if everything goes well. But this year, just 30,000.
So that's when, so we pay it. He's now applying for 2025, so that'll come back and that goes to general.
Back in the line that came out of.
It goes back into the line it came out of directly.
It's done all then.
Yeah, just goes in the county. It just goes in the county, how it is. Just into the cash reimburses the fund. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you. See you this afternoon.
Good morning.
Not on?
Mm-hmm. Not sure I need it. Good morning. I'm not often up here, so forgive me as I fumble through this. I'm here to request a part-time wage exception. And I believe I sent out and emailed a letter to the council about this so you could look at the details ahead of time and maybe understand it better. Because there are several moving parts. I have a full-time employee that recently requested a reduction in hours. And after talking to them, I agree that that's probably, it is a wise decision. But I'm asking for them to be able to retain their rate of pay because I'm still requiring and asking them to do the same work. And under the part-time, my understanding is the part-time rate typically is up to $20 an hour. And so I'm requesting for them to retain their current rate, which is $29.30 per hour, and make it retroactive to July to part-time. So doing that has changed my job workflow quite a bit. A lot of it is resting on my one full-time employee that I have and myself. We're just moving into completing a bunch of projects, and some of them, the deadlines are immovable. For instance, I put in my letter the October 14th deadline to get all of our computers either upgraded to Windows 11 or changed out the devices, because a lot of our
devices are not capable of running on Windows 11. So I'm having to purchase new devices and getting those deployed and rolled out. So I'm asking to fill my part-time position that's left vacant now because of the employee moving to part-time status. So right now, I'm just, as far as the council is concerned, just asking for them to approve the salary amendment, salary ordinance amendment that the auditor's office helped me put together. So I think we got that before you as well. You know, if there are any questions, yes.
So here it says exception. So are we wanting to, we're changing it moving forward, or we're changing it for an exception for a period of time? Would be my question.
Right now, I would, back when I originally went to the commissioners a few months ago with my budget, I didn't feel like, since I've only been here since December, that I could really make a decision at that time of adding a full-time employee. But moving forward, that is what I will be doing for 2027. But there are just a lot of moving parts that I'm still trying to determine what I need moving forward. And so this kind of came out of the blue for me. So I'm now looking at job descriptions and my future needs for the department. And that involves whether I stay with our network administrator, our MSP that helps us with our network. And so I'm trying to just reassess everything moving forward. So I am. So she wants an exception. So if you remember, if you look at the salary ordinance, the council set that range, I don't know if it's $12 or $15 to $20 an hour for anybody, unless there was a special exception. And there were several of them.
Mm-hmm.
She is asking to be included in that special exception. And I put it on here, not to exceed $30 an hour. Her request for this particular employee is $29.30, but I put not to exceed 30. For her part-time wage exception, then she can, that's what her part-time person would be paid. And then she will be sitting then with an empty full-time position that she would have to fill. And I did not have a part-time line. She did not have a part-time line.
So we're creating a
We
part-time.
created a
line.
part-time line. That's
That was gonna be my next question was,
Yes.
does it change the part-time line? If there
Yeah,
was
she
one?
didn't have one. No part-time funds were budgeted. And I would like to retain, not the person, but I would like to retain a part-time person even when I'm filling the full-time, but I think that might be a discussion for another meeting, commissioners. So this is where I'm still trying to figure this out. Currently, there's enough. Yes. Currently, there's enough funding still left in that line. Oh. Her full-time line to be able to transfer to the part-time line. So that's the final piece of what I have done. That is scheduled out what I think in county time as to when I can actually hire another person, and that I'll still have funds in there to cover most, if not all, of the rest of the full-time budget to finish out the year. So that, I think from what I've figured out, it's just kind of a educated guess at this point that I'll still have funds in my full-time line.
Thank you for thinking of that. Instead of coming back and be like, well, now I need.
Aaron, any issues?
No, and I've been working very closely with Nikki on this as well, working with the job descriptions and everything. Until we get those kind of in line, then we won't post for that other position, But, we've been working very closely, so it's fine.
But sort of our salary ordinance language for special exceptions.
Yeah, you're fine. You have several that are within that special exception location anyway, so.
To be clear, this would be for that newly created line item, but also specifically would go away, show the person.
At this time, unless I'm still trying to determine whether I need to go to commissioners about that portion of whether it goes away in 2026 or whether I retain it, because I will be asking for a,
Well, I'm saying that the hourly rate would go away because it's attached to this person, like in our motion, we can be clear about that.
I think, yeah, I specified in there the employee number,
Yeah.
that would be for specifically.
On a part-time line, and that if she puts in for a part-time for 2026, that'll be, she'll have to budget for that then.
But if that's not necessarily that wage rate, if it's not that person. If
Whatever,
it is that
yeah.
person, then yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, that wage rate was based on the Pat D job classification. So essentially anybody that
Okay.
was in the IT department that is a Pat D, if she wanted to bring in other people, there's a potential it would be the same,
Okay.
doing the same job duties.
And that would be included in that, which then that's that.
That's where
Okay.
whatever it might be.
I mean, you're a department that supports all other departments too.
I only see that growing in the future.
Okay,
Need this threefold.
any other questions?
Then
So
I need approval of a wage exception
before we do the ordinance.
and then the ordinance. And then we can do the transfer.
So the first one was the wage exception.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I make a motion to approve the wage exception.
Second. Questions? Avery,
Specify that would be retro back to.
Oh, I apologize. Can I amend
Yeah.
my, to have, to accept the wage exception and revert it back to
Is it the 24th?
July the 24th?
Thank you, Erin.
Yep.
Add it in the ordinance.
I apologize, I forgot the first.
And then here.
I will resecond.
all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, crossed our T's and dotted our I's. Okay, for me to read the ordinance.
Yes, you may.
Okay, so we have ordinance number 1050 in front of us, and it is an ordinance amending ordinance 1024, which is an ordinance amending the 2025 salary ordinance. Whereas Steuben County Council approved its 2025 wages by passing the 2025 salary ordinance number 1024 on December 10th, 2024. And whereas part-time wage exceptions are outlined in ordinance 1024 for specific departments within county government, and whereas the Steuben County IT department did not submit a part-time wage exception request for the 2025 pay year. As a result, part-time staff within IT department would be compensated at the standard hourly rate of $12 to $20 per hour. The specific wage within this range would be determined by the IT director, and whereas the Steuben County IT director has submitted a request to add a part-time account line to the department's annual budget with an hourly wage request not to exceed $30 an hour, and the specific rate of compensation to be determined by the IT director. And whereas the Steuben County IT director has further requested that employee number 30531, who has been reclassified as a part-time employee, be compensated at an hourly rate of $29.30 per hour, equivalent to their previous full-time salary, and that this rate be applied retroactively to the employee's reclassification date of July 24th, 2025. Now therefore be it ordained by the Steuben County Council, a part-time wage exception for the Steuben County IT department shall be set at an hourly rate not to exceed $30 an hour. And the specific rate of compensation shall be determined by the IT director based on the applicant's technical qualifications, relevant certifications, and educational background in information technology or a related field. And be it further ordained, the Steuben County Council approves the IT director's request that employee number 30531, who has been reclassified as a part-time employee, be compensated at an hourly rate of $29.30, equivalent to their previous full-time salary, and that this rate be applied retroactively to the employee's reclassification date of July 24th, 2025.
You did wonderful.
Okay. Anybody care to make a motion to accept that?
I'll make that motion.
It's 10:50.
Second.
Bill and Renee. Or Ruth, sorry, I didn't look up. Okay, all very ready right now. 7-0.
This does require 3 readings. And in order to get it going right away, if we could please suspend the rules and that would be great.
I will make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second that.
Chair West.
Okay, all those in favor of suspending the rules, raise your right hand. 7. Okay. Motion for second, third reading.
I'll make a motion for the second and third reading.
I'll second it.
Nay. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 7. Okay. Did you say we still have to make a motion to transfer?
Yes. That's.
Okay.
I make a motion. Ready?
Yes.
I will make the motion to transfer the funds from 1001049.0068 of $15,000 to 100141020.0068 for the $15,000.
Okay.
Second that.
Eric? In favor of transfer, raise your right hand. No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.
I'll be back this afternoon overnight. It's short, summary of my budget.
Just because once a day isn't enough of that.
Just pass around. now.
Yeah, let's do it. Ordinance coming to you. Get your blue pen.
I got my blue pen.
For you guys. I have my blue pen covered.
I got one here.
While that's coming around, heat up here for the auditor. Trying to make the flow of time work better for insurance claims is why they're requesting an annual amount. We've been approving monthly.
That's a lot of transfers. And we could simplify it by doing a large one, having AB or having Ann and Erin will monitor that together. Erin she still will keep her monthly log, but then we don't have to do so many transfers.
And the request was that, from me, was that we still get the documentation monthly of what actually transferred.
Yeah. I send it to you.
Personally,
Have it.
I'd rather do it like a quarterly amount or biannual instead of the whole amount. But that's just me. So it's up for council discussion on what we want to do.
And a little bit more background information, Ann and I have gone through this multiple times. Lao was set up a little bit different than what Harris was. So Harris was set up as a liability and it's not like that in Lao. So the reports look a little bit different and it makes it a little bit more difficult on the cash balance and everything because before there was no cash balance. And so we would then transfer to make sure everything's zeroed out. The way it's set up is a little bit more difficult to do that. And we've had a lot of confusion. So I am still tracking all of the biweekly and the weekly claims that are coming through, which Kelly, did you give that to me? I sent it to her so you guys could see.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter essentially if whatever county council wants to decide, whether it be like on a quarterly basis or whatever, but if we come to the point where we run out of funds in that fund, then we're gonna have to go ahead and transfer more money. This is also directly tied to the 4D grant for the prosecutor's office because of the auditor's health insurance form that we also have to do. So they want to know exactly how much money is transferred into the health fund. And that is directly tied to them, which I complete that at the very beginning of every year for the year previous. So that will help us track as well. But we just have to continue transferring funds in there one way, shape, or form, whether it's monthly, quarterly, but we still need to track it for that purpose too.
Right now, our approvals you were funding it on the backside of it, where you're trying to get the pre-funding on.
Yeah.
Yes, basically, is what that's.
So-
So we don't want to write.
Right, but if we divide it into semi-annual, and if we're gonna forward fund it anyway, we could have that be in a meeting that where you didn't have that gap, right? So if it was quarterly, it's still, do it a month or so before, do that quarters a month or so before you
Yeah,
actually.
and I'm gonna continue tracking it. If things are running high, and I think we might run out, then I can always let you know, ahead of time, if we need to come to a meeting beforehand.
It's not anything that we have control over what the claims are,
No.
right? I mean, we
We're paying
can't say, no, I'm sorry, we're not gonna pay that.
Yeah, essentially what you're doing right now is just moving all of it from county general into that health fund. And then that's essentially what is done anyway. It was just done on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So
So
We still have our reports monthly.
our cash balance is, when it's over in health claims, when it's moved over, is that still something that is looked at as part of our general cash balance? We've moved it out of general.
wouldn't it be on the auditor's side? I wouldn't think so. I mean, and I don't know what happens at the end of the year if all those funds are not used. Would you just leave it in 5101 or transfer it back? Because I do believe that is one of the questions that is on the auditor's health insurance form that I have to do for the prosecutor's office. So that's something that will have to be determined, I guess.
So we can either leave it there for moving forward, or we can get back into the cash and start over.
Well, what I'm saying is once it's moved in to pay claims, once that balance is sitting there, let's say it's the whole $2 million. That basically reflects general as having $2 million less cash.
Yes.
Right. So that cash balance also influences things like our bond rating, our liquidity measures with Peters Municipal. So that's where I was
That's where you were
thinking
going
about
with it.
slicing that a little bit, just so our cash balance doesn't show.
I did not know that.
Less liquid.
Except for some-
Right.
But that
That's
makes
where I was
sense.
getting,
So at that point, quarterly would be the best option.
or at least semi-annual, quarterly, but
Semi-annually would be okay, don't you think?
and if you did the first one at $1 million and then came back at it in 3 months and did $250,000, or, you know what I'm saying? And then started piecing it quarterly, but at least allow them to get in front of it
So
to start.
begin with, and I'm going forward a little bit, that will be more practical probably for 27, because going into 26, we have the ARPA funding that's gonna have to be used up
Right,
first.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
gonna,
Right.
that's gonna change it a little bit
True.
too.
And all of our reimbursements that we receive as well, get put into that 5101. So it goes towards that.
Right.
Those claims.
Commissioner Scheib, former council president.
Morning,
Good morning. How are you?
wonderful.
I value your opinion on that.
Well, your discussions are leading down probably the right path. I understand what you're saying with the bond rating and that, but I'm not sure at what time frame that they actually look at that, or are they looking at the bond rating, their cash balance quarterly, yearly? That I don't have an answer for that one when they'd actually look at it. So if they're looking at it through the year, yeah, it makes more sense to spread that out, but if not, you could do it whichever way you want to.
I don't make it too complicated for all you guys. I'm just trying to make sure we're not hurting ourselves. If something comes up like that.
We can always do an adjustment if we need to.
I guess make it more work, but do you just, if you have if we knew that when they were doing it, we had to put something back to, that cash.
I mean, my guess is that if we decided we need to issue, take on debt for any reason, it would come after they put it out there.
Yeah.
For bid.
Okay.
So we would have plenty of advance notice if we're gonna be in that position.
If we had to fix something,
Yeah.
we could do that.
So,
Everything's always fixable, we can always adjust.
so, yeah, I mean, we can do it all, do half and do whatever you guys think.
Well, it's already moved.
Hmm?
It's already moved.
You already did it.
We had to.
What do you mean?
What do you mean you have?
We needed to move money, we were in the red. Now, we didn't have to move this whole 2 million,
Right.
but that is in the discussion with Ann, that is what I told her to go ahead and do.
We'd be talking about going forward.
No.
So she gets through the end of the year.
The money's already been moved.
What we're talking about right now would be, what are we doing next year? Putting it all in there? Or
Well,
doing it?
They're kind of asking us to approve it. They already did. Where else? Make a motion to make a fix to that.
I'd make a motion to approve it. That's been done.
Okay.
I'll second. That Renee?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it,
Have we been in the red before?
Yeah.
We've moved it before we approved it.
It's been this way every month. It's always been done
It's
this
just
way.
never been in advance beyond claims.
It's just never been this large of an amount, but it's always been done.
Have you moved a level amount or have you moved a specific amount of claims?
It's based on the claims and if we received any reimbursement. So it would just be whatever the claims were minus the reimbursement. So it would essentially zero that line out is what it would do. And so then the next month would start over. Anyway,
That's the way I understood it happened. Not like claims are looking like they're 169,000, let's maybe 200,000.
no, it was always a specific amount.
Action. This is
Yes.
a way of.
And it's because of the system, the LAO system, and how different it is set up differently than what Harris was. And so it doesn't work the same way as it did with Harris. The processes that we were doing previously are not working the same.
Just making your life easier.
It was making it harder for,
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm still gonna do what I have always done. It's just normally I would take then a claim at the end of the month to Ann and have her do a transfer.
we've always done a
You guys-
specific amount.
You guys would then approve it. Yes.
So why were we more in the red than what we had approved? Like,
No.
what created the issue this time?
If there wasn't a new issue, right? If I'm understanding correctly, system bringing us
Processes that are tied to it.
to us with, this is how much we need, like they always
Yeah.
do.
So,
They decided to
yeah,
up that amount more than what they needed to.
Process.
They're not gonna have
And
to
make
come
it
to us every
easier.
month.
Right, but you said, well, we were in the red.
I think we weren't we in the red? Yeah.
But you were in red every month since
but,
I've been on council, correct?
but with Harris, it was set up as a liability. It was not set up as like a cash balance.
It was, it made it in the red the way that we have to input it and transfer it, unfortunately. And unless you're seeing it on the screen, it's extremely difficult to explain.
No, that totally, that totally makes sense to me. Mine is that in the future, if we're going to change the way we're going to do something, I've been told a million times about being in my lane. That's our lane. I would like to be part of that conversation
This
before it
actually,
happens.
process is actually the auditors.
Is it transferring money from one account to another account? That's what it's doing, correct?
Correct, but tell me if I'm right or wrong. We started this process because the State Board of Accounts just wanted them to sign off on it, right? State Board of Accounts said prior to that, they never saw them. Am I correct? Yeah, so, and I can't tell you what year that was, whether it was in my term or not, but prior to this, you guys never even saw the transfers when we did them as far as what is the insurance. We just did them, but State Board of Accounts
Told us that we needed to see them. You've done them ever since I've been there.
So we,
Right.
correct, so we continue to do them, and then we bring them for formality purposes so that we don't get written up and have you guys sign off.
Which I completely understand that we were doing it for the specific amount, but we decided what were our claims last month?
You have it on that sheet. I don't have it in front of me.
Are they on the back? I apologize. Yeah. So we transferred a whole lot more.
Yeah, we transferred to get us closer to the end of the year. When it gets to like, I would say November.
I mean, you're,
Yeah.
like you said, the coming before us is a formality
Mhm.
on the end of approving it.
Yeah.
It's happening whether we like it or not.
It has to happen.
Now we're just gonna say, hey, we're just gonna talk, we're gonna get our sheet every month.
You're
You're
gonna
say,
get
we're
your
just gonna
sheet
talk
every
about it.
Yes.
Once you need more, then we'll
Yeah,
talk
we
about
would
it.
have to move it every year when we use this line in its entirety.
I get it.
So
I get it.
we're
It's
just trying to get ahead of the game.
Which makes sense.
But it's just the internal controls are in place. So I get the claims, I review the claims, I pay the claims every 2 weeks and then every week for the prescriptions. And then I track them on that sheet and then I submit paperwork to the auditor's office then. So they have.
I
the
completely
information.
understand what the process was. I completely understand what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, my process
I
is still.
just-
It's just different.
I have an issue with making a transfer of a larger amount without bringing us in on the conversation beforehand. I just had to say that.
Fair enough.
Any further comments? We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 6-1. Any comments?
You can go first.
Aaron, you back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, first, if you don't mind me jumping in here, I want to introduce somebody to you who's standing there, sitting here at the front. This is Jay Curry. He is our new EMS admin director. Administrator, excuse me. Comes to us with quite a resume. I'm sure if you sit down and chat with him, you'll see what we got. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll stay afterwards. I got some cards I can hand out to you. So if you guys wanna schedule a meeting, talk, whatever you need. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I already messed up. You didn't bring donuts.
I only got one paycheck.
So, first thing on the agenda for me, we're gonna do the easiest part first. It's the, what used to be the assistant EMS director is now going to be changed to the chief operating / training officer. This is the final step in the commissioner's restructure of the EMS department. So before we had a director, that position is no longer in place. And now we have the EMS administrator, which is basically, the business officer. They're in the office, they're taking care of the finances, things of that nature. Then you have the chief operating / training officer that is more in line with the operations, handles the training. Now, while the administrator and the chief operating and training officer, they do have some overlap with regards to some of the tasks. We're going to have that, but this is just a formality. It was approved by the personnel, or favorable recommendation from the Personnel Committee to the Commissioners. It was approved by the Commissioners, and now it's to you for final approval. No additional funding, just putting this in place so it is in full effect.
Can you recap the hierarchy,
Yes, so it's the EMS administrator, then you have the chief operating / training officer. And then you also do have, now have the supervisors, you have paramedics, advanced EMTs, and EMTs as well.
So the true department head is
the
the
administrator.
administrator.
Yes. And that person does report to the commissioners.
You're the liaison and you sit on that personnel committee.
Mhm.
You didn't find any issues with that?
No, and I talked to Andy and he was favorable for him for all of the language in that he was happy with. So I felt like between us, we all decided that it was a good move and a good change.
Our medical director is.
No, the medical director is, the same.
Man,
What?
Scott.
Yes, yes.
So we are looking for a motion to approve the EMS amended job description.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Further comments or questions? Everybody right in? 7.
Thank you.
You.
Next conversation. Are you ready?
Is this a joint conversation?
This is the public defender conversation. I do have, Rittner's here, and then Tom Johnson is also here, he's managing PD, the other board members, but it's okay.
Does anybody need to recess before we jump into?
10 minutes.
You want to make this the joint one, or this could be just the public defender portion of it? Not necessarily the joint meeting. That's up to you. It might
I'm okay with it all being the joint. Yeah.
It's your-
Yeah. Okay. Take a 5-minute break for that.
Shut off your microphones, guys.
Don't.
There isn't anything I can do.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
It's so hard to see.
You're so tall.
You're-
First time anybody's ever said I was too tall.
Maybe it's just too wide.
I can make that, I'm so sure. All right, you're,
Okay, so, finally got the final agreement from the CCAA. It did go to the commissioners last Monday, and it was approved on their end. So now it is in front of county council to approve the grant agreement for the misdemeanor pilot program. There are several requirements contained in that agreement, and one of which is the funding of a public defender office. So if this public defender office does not come to fruition, then there is no misdemeanor pilot program unless we get a different approval and move forward with the CCAA on that aspect.
one thing early on, I didn't know that we learned later in this process is that this is 18 months only guaranteed. And so I'm a little bit afraid of trusting the state that this will continue.
Yeah, their hopes are to continue on then for the remainder of those 4 years that they were promising.
Do you feel like, I read through the whole agreement in detail, I just kept wanting to ask you, like, I know you've been meeting all these reporting requirements, but are you comfortable with meeting without undue stress, meet those requirements that are laid out?
We're already meeting a lot of them. I think the big thing is the public defender office and the implementation of that, and then getting those people trained and moving forward from there. I mean, this is gonna be a process. I know there's other counties that implemented public defender offices and they're still not 100% up and running. I mean, it's a process. So, I'm here still, I'm going to be there and making sure that we're doing everything in accordance with how we need to. FOIA is also, has a huge hand in this with regards to the courts, because the courts also have requirements with regards to the specific forms that they have to use to prove indigent. So, he's gonna have a huge hand in this too.
I saw some language in there regarding if one particular attorney or something doesn't handle something right or gets themselves in trouble, that we could just be kicked out of the program.
I would hope there would be some ways to remedy that. Our contracts right now, we do have specifications in those contracts and those attorneys need to abide by those. We have had issues in the past with regards to the current program. I always say we've come up with all these different forks in the road, but we always figure out a way to fix it. And we just continue rolling on. So, that's not to say that we're not gonna have any forks in the road with this. Absolutely. But just as you heard from the clerks and the prosecutor's office, the amount of caseloads that they're filing, it's a trickle-down effect. So you have all these cases being filed, the courts are feeling it, the public defenders are feeling it, the probation department is feeling it, and so is community corrections. It gets to the point where it's just too much. The public defender program essentially is, our managing public defender and then me operating out of my home. And so everything's done electronically, I handle all the audits, I handle all the reporting. I work very closely with FOIA and also with the other board members to make sure that we stay in compliance. But it is getting to be too much. Those caseloads, right now I have 84 cases that I need to look up and report to the state. I got the 90 done for last month, but now I have a new 84 of them that I need to report all this information on. So it is a lot. Having support staff in an office most certainly will help remedy that. It's just, the program is getting too big.
Within that, also, one of the things that becomes a problem for us as we manage which attorneys get assigned which cases. We're capped at the number of cases that each attorney can be assigned. And if we go over that cap, then we have real problems for reimbursement currently on the felony funding. And if the misdemeanor program comes together, then we'll have real problems with that. We've been juggling the last 60 days because 2 of our misdemeanor public defenders were going to be over if we didn't do something. We've been able to have several of the actually all of the felony public defenders have picked up cases just voluntarily that were outside of their contract to just make things work in the meantime. The approval of the public defender office, one of the effects of that will be the case count numbers will change. The number of cases that each attorney can be assigned because they have support staff will be increased, and it helps remedy that problem. If we didn't have that, then we would be forced to either lose reimbursements on our felonies and misdemeanor and lose the pilot program, or we'd be forced to hire additional attorneys to fill those roles, which I'm not saying there's a good answer, but those are the facts that we're facing right now.
And we've run into that before, where we've been out of compliance and we got that letter.
Yeah.
And we risked losing our funding. So then we had to implement new public defender after new public defender. And the caseload is just, every year it's higher.
And it's hard to find attorneys who want to work in this market too.
So one way or the other, we're gonna be spending more money one way or the other because people are gonna keep committing crime and more of it. So either we're hiring new attorneys on you guys' end, or you guys are finding more, we figure out this office.
10 years ago, 1,500 cases a year was crazy. We're at 1,500 by the end of this month for sure. I know I entered my experience in 1,487 yesterday.
And we're office.
It's also going to be a great launching point for us to try to be ahead and bring attorneys to this community. My thought process. You guys heard my speech last year that attorneys aren't moving to small towns. They're talking about rural judges, regional judges, regional offices, which gives us less representation. We need to figure this out. We need to bring it in. I think the state is going to force us to it, whether they give us reimbursement or not. That whole, are they going to give this to us and take it away? I think they're going to make us do it no matter what. Because it has to happen.
Well, and it's a more streamlined process. I mean, right now, public defenders are appointed on a rotating basis. So if you had the courts determine that somebody was indigent and they do qualify for a public defender, then the public defender office is just appointed. Information is sent to the chief public defender or his support staff, and then they figure out which public defender is going to be handling those cases.
And also your level of attorney that wants to take these kind of contracts. We had one in our office for a very short period of time with an attorney. The stress of taking on, tracking these people down and making sure you're telling them what's happening and all of that is so much that attorneys that, some of them don't want it. Those that are there, I think it's about health insurance. But if you can make this where that heaviness can be on the staff, an attorney can show up and give his time as an attorney and do what he needs to do, you're likely to get better people to come to the table too.
Yeah, and ideally, a public defender office would serve as essentially a centralized firm for all the attorneys to be a part of. Granted, they're still independent practitioners, but it would give them that support staff. Last month, I entered appearances in 48 new criminal cases. The chances of without a firm that is very organized to be able to do that and do it well is much lower, but you should be able to monitor the quality of your service, the quality of monitoring, and all those things at a much higher level if you have essentially a law firm, which is the public defender office, managing.
And you're gonna be able to vet your people on whether or not they qualify for the services too, right? The staff.
My understanding of how it works, it is at the initial hearing, they'll ask for a public defender or they won't. And that's what we do at every hearing. But when they make that request, then they'll have to submit it, they'll meet with the public defender office, go through an application to see if they really are indigent, or if they can afford to pay a portion of it, because at each hearing, the judge will award public defender fee. That fee can be impacted by how much that person makes. If a person makes nothing, then obviously it's gonna be nothing. If this person actually makes $800 a week, but they still can't afford a public defender, then they may be ordered to reimburse more. So those sorts of things factor into it. So my understanding of it is the public defender's office will look at the application, make a recommendation to the court, and the court will make a decision at that point, not whether or not to appoint one. If they do appoint one, then the public defender office assigns them within it to make sure your numbers are where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, because there's a specific form, it's from the Office of Judicial Administration that they want everybody to be using. It's a standard form.
Well, keep in mind, there's a big misdemeanor piece of this, that we're expensing on our own backs right now.
All of it.
Yeah, so the reimbursement on the misdemeanor thing, I think my guess as to why we were one of the counties that were accepted this program is just because of our Warner County situation, our extremely high misdemeanor caseload.
Like kind of put both of what you said together, like they're gonna force us into this. Or if we get even the 18, if getting 18 is better than nothing. If we really
You
get
could
forced
end up
into
having to have a PD office and not be part of the misdemeanor reimbursement. But
yeah, at least at this point, we're getting something to help start it and get it running. If it turns into 4 years, awesome. Great. If it doesn't though, at least we have some help to start it versus starting from scratch and nothing.
Because right now we are in compliance and we have a couple that are close. I mean, and, so we've been working closely on those. But he's been pulling people out of the rotation based on what their percentages are right now and working with the courts and saying, okay, this PD can only have X amount of cases and pull them back out. And then, so we've really been, because right now, even though we haven't officially approved it, we are, kind of operating in the fact that we got the misdemeanor pilot. So I'm like, start giving those felony attorneys some misdemeanors because they're going to be reimbursable, hopefully, if we sign this grant agreement. So it's just in order to stay in compliance, we had to start moving people around. So, and we have the numbers back from July, and that's only the first month of the quarter. So when I get August's numbers, then we're gonna have to reevaluate and see then where we're at and who we need to move around.
And is it a live quarter? Isn't like a rolling so many quarters?
So it's a rolling 4 quarters. So the ginormous spreadsheet that I have, it has the public defenders. So it has, all the quarters and you just keep going and you just
So
keep
it's trying to
replacing.
level out some spikes, but
So.
all right.
When we're looking at the numbers here, out of general, would that 60 grand that hit in circuit court, would that be able to go away and be absorbed into this?
Yeah.
Right?
So that's for the Pauper Council.
The Pauper Council.
Okay, so
Just trying to understand the hit on general.
yeah. So that's what I was trying to calculate over the weekend, just to get you guys through the rest of this year. And then we'll figure out 2026 during budget time. But taking a look at all of the current positions that we have and all of the, different lines and everything we have, and keep in mind, we do still have supplemental public defense fund that can be used as like a rainy day sort of fund, right? So we're obviously going to have some sort of overhead with regards to computers and phone and case management software and all that fun stuff, which I don't know everything that a PD office will need. But some of those expenses can be taken out of supplemental public defender fund. I think there's about $130-some thousand sitting in there right now. I calculated out of general for the remainder of this year, don't hold me to it because things always happen, it seems like, but I guesstimated that we will potentially need close to 40,000 additional funds in order to continue on with the chief public defender, and I did that for 8 pays, which is remaining. I mean, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time to hire that chief public defender. So that's why my guesstimates are high. It's gonna take time to hire that person. The applicant pool, you guys allowed us to go ahead and post for the jobs. The applicant pool is a lot of different applicants that the chief public defender can then take a look at.
Oh, you mean for support staff?
For the receptionists and the paralegals. Okay, so that's great news. So we could, if this is approved, and obviously there's no additional appropriation in front of you, I just calculated rough numbers, get you more concrete numbers in form of an additional appropriation the next month if this is all approved. Then we can move forward, hit the ground running, and just.
Out of your huge pool, how many had actual legal experience?
The paralegals, pretty much all of them. I'd say all of them except maybe 2.
Really?
Yes. And they're not all local, but I was very surprised. So that I started out as a paralegal, so I'm, reading through it. This is good.
One thing you have to remember, most local attorneys don't provide health insurance
Correct.
or benefits. So this is a paralegal position here would be very attractive to paralegals.
It's just, yeah.
I was just curious. And receptionists, those admin type positions are, those are normally you get heavy applicants anyway. We get a lot of those.
Well, and the 8-4, no weekends and no nights is really nice.
So yeah, we it's a great applicant pool, I feel like, for the chief public defender to take a look at. If that's,
Did you have several apply for the chief public defender job?
we have a pool for that as well. So
Good.
the board does not have the copies of those yet. We need to, depending on what happens here, then we're going to hopefully next week schedule a meeting, and then they can have all of that information given to them so they can review it. And
How many new positions qualify for health insurance?
so that's when the previous managing public defender submitted our application, he really cut down the amount of positions that would be going into the public defender office. Because of the case counts that we have right now, it really scares me to cut that much. At the previous time, we were talking about 1 additional insurance position, now asking for 2. That can always be changed. If things get operating and up and running and our numbers are way under, we're good, then we can always reevaluate on the contracts. But I kind of talked to Foy a little bit about it. Previously, we have 10 public defenders right now. You're gonna have a chief public defender, and then the application wanted to only have 2 felony public defenders and then 3 misdemeanor public defenders. Misdemeanor public defenders do not qualify for insurance on this plan, okay? So you have the chief public defender, 2 felonies. I would like to have 3 felony attorneys, quite honestly. And then you have, because the chief public defender already has the insurance, and then you have the 2 paralegals and administrative assistant.
3, 4, 5, 6.
And you currently, 2, so I need 2 more. So I'm asking for 7. Because I have the chief PD plus the 3 felony positions, and then, oh no, you're right. Can I do something around here? Chief PD, 3 felony public defenders, 2 paralegals, and then, so that's 7, yeah, and then, so we need 7, so 2 additional insurance. Because currently you only have 5, but there's only 5 out of the 10 public defenders that have insurance.
Okay.
With regards to the pauper council stuff, Boy and I talked, because yes, there was discussion on the mini contracts. We thought it would probably be in the best practice to keep it current right now, the way it is until 2026. And then that way it gives us time to rework that and figure out those mini contracts. The application for the misdemeanor pilot program specified it would be a two $20,000 contracts. Those public defenders would be the main chins and the JC and the JT cases. And then 3 contracts that would be like for conflict counsel, that would be at $3,000 a piece. Now, is that gonna have to be reworked? That's a potential. I don't know. We're just gonna have to kind of see what's happening because there's a lot of different attorneys that cover these cases right now.
Courts struggle, especially on the Finn's cases, trying to find people who will do it. I think it would be much more efficient if we had specific people doing it. And also, pauper counsel tends to be more expensive than a contract because they're paid hourly. Whereas if you're under contract, you're paid by the contract, and it tends to work out better for the county when you do it that way.
When I've seen some of those pauper bills, some of those attorneys that are doing are only charging for their time inside court. That once those transition out of our community and you go to an attorney that charges you every time he touches a file, like a normal attorney, like they do in a private practice, that number is going to be very different. Right? I didn't speak that.
I don't do it the way you mentioned. I bill for every call, and I get bill for every email I send, just like I would for anyone else. And every motion that I file, if I'm in court or not.
But you're right, there are some that some of the older folks that still do, at least what I saw when we used to do the collections for that. So your thought process is that amount you gave us that hits general doesn't include the 2 health insurances that would hit us between now and the end of the year, right?
Correct.
Correct?
Because that's normally absorbed from county general anyway, and the claims and all that. Yeah, so.
And then we're looking at the difference for next year of what the hit will be, what's presented in this.
So the projection, so it's county general, and I don't have the full budget in front of me. I want to say the budget request was close to 700 and
So
752.
yeah, so there, yeah. And then this year out of county general, it's
518, 830.
Yep. Yes. Again, that was based on, just guessing. But I mean,
No,
You don't know how long it take you to hire somebody, how long it take
Yeah,
them to hire anything
and
else, like.
all of the other overhead, like, what else is the chief public defender going to require to run that office?
yeah, I was surprised by a couple of I just know what it costs for me to put together an office as far as management software and phones and all of that. And
I think it's going to be a trial and error.
yeah, no, I was glad that you put a higher number, but I still don't know if that number is,
So
it's just very specific software.
Good news on that. The good and bad news. The bad news is most of those softwares are based per user, but the amount is very consistent. So like the management software is usually,
Yeah, my pay per
but
user.
you know what it's going to be, and it seldom changes significantly. So once it's up and rolling, you should be able to get a good idea of what it's going to be going forward.
So we're suggesting it's $233,532 more to run this office than what we budgeted last year, but that doesn't include the fact that reimbursed on the misdemeanor stuff. So we're not in the budget, we're not budgeting for that reimbursement.
No.
And so we ran that number one time, like if we had 40% reimbursement on our misdemeanor cases in 2025, roughly what would that total number have been?
That fluctuates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm saying it's probably not that much more money to run this office
By the time we
after we get that reimbursement.
And we get to get reimbursement on the space and the physical things.
Yeah, so that's another thing as well, because, and I have to work very closely with the auditor's office and probably maintenance on this, because you can actually break out the utilities for the square footage of the office.
Even the insurance
Mm-hmm.
on the building
Yeah,
liability.
so there's, all of that.
Do they don't reimburse on health insurance though?
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do.
They
So
do
the
that
fact
now.
that we have 5 already,
Mhm.
but we're already getting reimbursed on those 5?
You already get reimbursed on those 5, and that
I got
is
excited.
based on your admin costs, and also I pulled the claims.
Correct me if I'm wrong, not being reimbursed on the misdemeanors.
No.
Right.
And each misdemeanor attorney is making 50,000 a year.
Yes, no, I was just talking about the health insurance. I got excited that maybe it would just take care of itself, but I forgot that we were already doing that.
But if you add 2 more, just saying.
Yeah, but if we add 2 more, but we're still gonna get 40% reimbursement on those 2.
It is to a max cap, but I haven't hit anybody hit that max cap yet this year, so it's a pretty hefty max cap.
Commissioners, again, all on board. Obviously cleared your meeting and
You have an opportunity here with some additional funding available through general right now that you would not have had years ago. It's not a sustainable source, I get that, but it's an opportunity.
We were so aggressive last year, right? That we don't have our plan was to just do what we needed.
Right.
Right? There shouldn't be, I didn't see enormous changes.
well, that's a whole, well, yeah, right, but we'll get into that discussion, the budgets. Okay, well, in an effort to move things forward, looking for a motion to approve the agreement number 2026 CO Pilot 08. First step.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Eric,
I'll second that.
Bill. Any further comments, questions, discussion?
Thank you for bringing us numbers. Thank you for doing all of that. I know, but still, thank you for your time.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 7.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, yes, now the rest of the process. But I'll keep you guys updated on how things are going too. I'll get this agreement. I think you guys, Kelly, you got the original back from the commissioners, your signature. I'll get that down to CCAA as well and let them know, because I have to keep them updated as well as we move forward with each step, so.
So we,
This afternoon, we don't see you again, right?
I'll probably be here.
But we're not talking about this again. My only question, when I did look at it, is out of your supplemental fund, you're gonna burn cash.
Oh, well, yeah.
I know. Okay, but, okay, I just, you know me. That's my first question. Did we know that we were gonna do that, and how long can we sustain doing it?
It'll be,
we don't have it on that.
It'll be okay.
yes. The Supplemental Public Defender Fund normally is not one that has a lot of the cash balance, but there are those fees and stuff that are charged to public defenders do go back in there. So that's where that goes. Your reimbursement, that's done on a quarterly reimbursement, that goes back to the county general. So what Foy was talking about, where there's a potential where some people may have to pay an additional for their attorneys, I do believe that goes in the supplemental public defender.
Oh, so it would go directly back into
I will
1,200.
have to double check that.
That would just be interesting. I just took the 3 years average of what it brought in.
Yeah, and
Yes.
keep in mind, the supplemental public defender fund, that's like a rainy day thing. So if we're gonna pull something out of this, like emergency, okay, we need to buy XYZ, then next year it's gonna have to be pulled out of.
Yeah, well, that was my thing, that's just not sustainable.
No, and it's not gonna continue coming out of there.
And the public defender fees, the way they're being calculated now is just the judges essentially being careful. People could afford to pay a lot more than they're paying.
I have been surprised some with some of the ADRs and
Well, we're
the,
hoping the vetting is
The vetting
so
is much better.
through this
That's
process.
gonna be, yes, and that's a huge requirement in this agreement as well, that they do that.
I think that you're gonna see significantly different numbers on that front.
okay. All right.
So, okay, so we've approved that, but are you suggesting, today we should approve, you're suggesting $40,000 to get funding?
I didn't have that in front of you today, just because I'm trying to do a step at a time. There is money, like even if we do, the public defender board says, okay, we're ready to hire somebody, and they go ahead and do that, there's funding available until we do get an additional appropriation figured out. So we have money where the public defenders are paid out of, they're all out of one line, so there's a huge lump
Yeah.
sum in there, so that's one of those things, like, it'll be.
I just want to make sure we didn't leave you hanging here until.
No, I just tried to get you to say,
No, it's not advertised. We need to have a special meeting.
no, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really dial into the numbers, between now and your the deadline for the additional appropriation, and then get that in front of you for the next meeting. That way we have it all kind of laid out, and then.
Okay.
You got it rolling.
We have space already set aside for it, just waiting to be green lighted, so.
Green.
It's green.
Cool.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Kelly, everything you need there is great.
Aaron. Oh, it'd be nice if they
Because
started.
it says funding approvals, but it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, no, that was, I think I put a little asterisk right there, and I put, next meeting. That's the internal grant form.
He's looking at the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we don't need that until next.
Yep.
No, but on the contract, it just says Pilot County, so whose signature, do you know who they want on here? I'm assuming the commissioners.
Actually, where'd Rick go?
You just want out with Boyd.
Rick's.
Let me look at
It's, I said that we can do that afterwards, then as long as I don't need a council signature.
If you guys, so the commissioners signed off on the internal grant agreement, have the commissioners sign off, and then I'll have the president of the PD board sign off on this, so that would be Rick. I will catch him.
It's fine. He'll be back, I'm sure.
Okay.
So, moving into other business, we have our additional appropriation resolution number 08-2025-01. Just verifying if we get any options.
Did not need any options. And it's gonna look like more because they're broke out individually on here versus on the agenda, where we combine.
So if we need to approve that resolution. Here, make a motion.
Move to approve. That was Ruth.
Eric will say.
Following Ruth's lead.
I just adjusted once, and did I remember? No.
Good idea.
All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. We'll have a chance to review your July minutes.
Go to sleep at night.
Done on the minutes. Nobody sees any additions, corrections, deletions.
I'll second.
The general voice.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Recusal from the room. Thank you. You were missed. Drew.
But I watched you guys. You too, oh, yes, I did. Not live. So there.
Should be coming down the pipe here with our minutes from June that we need to sign. Approved last month.
You need to sign a minutes. Did I miss one when I was last meeting? That's it. Okay. Yep, nope, you're good.
And included in your packets. Nice and timely, again, appreciated. Your monthly financial comparison reports.
Excuse me.
Anybody have any questions or comments on them? Good, very good, thank you. You done?
I will make that motion. I'll second it.
Okay, David, raise your right hand. Email correspondence and reports this month from Steuben County Soil and Waste District on July 9th, board meeting agenda. The same organization's agronomy field day scheduled for July 22nd. EMS financial report for June. Community corrections financial report. The board minutes from Soil and Water, as well as the EGIS, that's Indiana Opioid Settlement newsletter. You know that? New business, just don't really have anything out there unless the commissioners want to give us a heads up, anything coming up, or just save it for our conversation later. Okay? Good, all right. Don't think we have anything tabled from last month. And we'll be meeting again in budget sessions, but we won't be meeting in our monthly meeting. So the AIC conference in end of September, please make sure you give an auditor's office here for yays or nays for that.
Surprise.
I was gonna say, if you all know right now, I'll make sure if you haven't told Abby.
I'm going.
Christina?
Oh, no.
I think Lisa was on and now you're off.
I can't tell
That's fine.
everything, just not gonna work.
I'm already on.
You're already on? And you're already on. Oh, you're coming again?
Didn't get last year's.
It was there 2 years ago, that's Dean. Back to Fresh Lake.
Yep.
It was a no.
And so it's done and it's Halloween theme. It's a mushrooms. It makes your brain hurt.
All of those I've heard so far.
They make your brain hurt.
Yeah.
Good info.
But it's, the more you hear it, the more it the more it resonates.
Right, absolutely.
I'm hoping you've got more.
Yes.
Like the state's had more time to plunge through the changes in the numbers and have more hard numbers for us instead of estimated impacts.
Yeah, I mean, they said it in our last one, right? It's just, I mean, they said up there basically, like, we're guessing and then
We still
it's
think.
probably gonna hit 28, we'll know more, but it'll probably change before that.
Yeah.
That seems to be the theme from everything we've been to.
Be interesting next 3 years' budgets, that's for sure. Okay. Does anybody else have anything to come before council before we break for our return start time of 12:50. Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Now, I'm not actually
Into the stream.
instead, no, instead of adjourning, if we could just be in recess, we don't have to open this back up again, please.
Yeah.
So since recess, do I have to let it run the whole time? No, we'll bring it back. Okay. I chunked that clear down,
We don't need.
Oh, I-
We don't
but I
need.
wanted to be in recess.